Yo guys, what's good? I know my sunroof is out, so I want to I'm welcome to all comments about it or whatever. You can show us your intelligence by making a comment about it. And then when we see that I got one, they can't find my make and model, we'll just force all of ourselves to move forward from that. But anyways, I got another video about the way I say that I'm always seeing stuff in the Bible as nobody sees or whatever, and I can't remember when I'm on the spot. But the other one I always noticed was Jacob. Jacob's called the usurper, and they make his name the trickster and the swindler. But if you look at Jacob's life, he knew about Esau. Ever since the womb, he pulled himself forward. And Esau ended up being what Esau was. He sold his birthright as the older brother. That's all that Jacob took, was the spot to be the one that God honored. But Esau had that, and he sold it for a bowl of beans. So I don't know what to say about that, but no disrespect to like Esau type people or anything like that. But Esau sold it for a bowl of beans, and then you got Jacob, who's forced to be born underneath Esau. And ever since the womb, he had the spirit to hold on. He held on to the ankle and said, I'm going to try my best to come out first. So something about that seed, something about that individual person had him always fighting to, at the end of the day, we see, to serve God. But then they call him the trickster because he took it illegally. But he didn't do it illegally. Esau would have sold it anyways. So then Jacob said, remember that Jesus says to be shrewd. Look that up, shrewd, S-H-R-E-W-D. Jesus in the New Testament ends up saying a parable that honors the shrewd person. And it's in sales and in finances or legality and stuff like that. But then Jacob from the womb was placed under Esau. And Jacob says, no, I'm going to try my best to pull out first. Then we call him a trickster and a swindler, when Jacob ended up being who God says, I'm going to make you Israel. So now this trickster, swindler, hold on to the ankler type of identity that we give to Jacob might have been that he knew that Esau was wrong in the first place from the beginning. And then Esau, he didn't have to trick Esau into saying, I'll sell you it for a bowl of beans. It's just more like Jacob knew that he was in this bad spot, like this ain't fair, man, or something like that, and I gotta try to push forward. So Jacob ends up receiving the birthright for a bowl of beans, which why in the world would you sell it for that anyways? But he's like this dude's gonna sell it, I might as well take it and do what God wants to happen with it anyways. Just take a minute to just make sure I'm explaining as much as I forget all the time. And then Jacob goes on to do this, and he also wrestles with God. So something that doesn't sit well with me, or maybe won't sit well with you now after this, is how is that a trickster if in the beginning, the middle, and the end, he's righteous? And these are righteous moves that he makes to be yo, you're not working it right. You have the birthright to do so many things, but you're out hunting. Check this out. There's the things I forget about that it took me a second to look all weird or whatever. Esau got back from hunting and he was hungry. He should have had a couple of slain oxen or deer or something, but dude was a loser. Or he came back from a loss anyways. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But you got back from hunting. God's grace wasn't with you. You should have had all the food right then as soon as you go hunting. But he comes back and he's like, sell me a bowl of beans and I'll give you my birthright. That's short character. He should have held strong or whatever. And Jacob makes his move. And he says, I'll give you a bowl of beans, give me the birthright. And then just pay attention to what Jacob did after this. That in my opinion, that's no swindler, that's no trickster, that's a righteous person who did what he had to do and was shrewd. Something that Jesus honors later to end up becoming Israel. But he probably did a whole bunch of stuff that had to get done that Esau should have been doing anyways. in the moment of, like, in Jacob's lifetime before Jesus. So just little things I noticed in the Bible. And Jacob's called the swindler. Maybe sometimes we got, I mean, I don't want to go in that direction, but Jacob is mad righteous so much that if you disagree, God ended up calling him Israel. Now, I'll bless those who bless Israel now. When Israel ends up becoming a nation, that's when Jesus is about to come soon. I think God's protecting the better character, like as in like have character in your heart. But his name in the Hebrew does mean like trickster, but maybe, and usurper. Usurper means you're under something and you overpower it and get on top. I don't know what's trickster about that. Isn't that the way we're supposed to treat sin? We're under sin. We try hard to overcome, get this sin out. Now we stand on top of sin. We need Jesus' help. But Jesus says to stand on top of sin and have dominion over it. Just a couple of points, just a couple of in Mexican, in where I'm at, we call it skina. Throwing a little bit of skina for Jacob. He gets shat on. Excuse me for my cussing. God, help me overcome my sin. Watch me do it. Throwing Jacob a little bit of skina. That they call him a trickster and all that. I don't know. Now maybe you could look at the story with a different lens.